You are listening to American Wag, where the mind is respected and the truth is sometimes detected. What's up? Today's question is, what incident happened to you as a child which has affected your behavior ever since? And so I want to tell my mini bike story. And I probably told it lots of different ways, but I'm going to tell it this way on video. So what happened was I got a mini bike. Now, how did I get a mini bike? Well, first of all, let's talk about the mini bike. I bought it from Pep Boys on Crenshaw Boulevard, right next to McDonald's, across the street from Crenshaw Records. And they had three different models of cat mini bikes. There was the little orange one, which was the 1.5 horsepower one. Then they had the 5 horsepower gold one with shocks on the front and rear. And in the middle, they have the red, white, and blue Evel Knievel 2.5 horsepower cat mini bike. And that's the one I wanted. There had always been like the little 1.5 horsepower cats running around. You'd see one just about every day in the summer. About that time when I was, 10 or 11? And so I said, Dad, can I have a mini bike? And he said, yes, but you have to buy it yourself. And I said, how can I buy it myself? Who asked you? And he said, I will give you $1 a day if you do your chores. And the mini bike was like $125 plus tax, plus I had to buy a helmet. So that was a hefty thing, which means for about 150 days, almost half a year, I'd have to save $1 a day if I did my chores. Now, my dad was in the Marines, so chores were something that were taped on a list and taped to the refrigerator. So you write all the chores, in a family of 5, 4 boys, we had lots of things to do. I had the bathroom. David had the gutter. So he had to sweep the gutter in front of the house. And Brian, I think maybe he had the side of the house. I'm not sure. But I remember my chores were the bathroom. I was the one scrubbing the pee around the toilet. And it was tough. But every day, he'd come home. Sometimes he'd have the county car because he worked for the county. And we'd get an inspection. And sometimes he'd do a pop call, especially in the summer when we're home all day and he puts a big list of things. You got to rake the leaves in the front yard, or you have to, do the kitchen. So, and we switched off. Somebody would wash, and then the other person would dry and put away. My father did not believe in leaving dishes in the dish rack. They had to be dried and put away, and that counter cleaned up. So, 2 of us would have to be in the kitchen, and our biggest excuse was to let the pan soak. We had lots of cast iron skillets, and we had Brillo pads, steel wool with soap in them, and you would try to scrape off the burnt stuff that people would burn, and we gotta let it soak. And that's the only way you could get away with not washing the dishes right away. Anyway, day after day, Pops would dig in his wallet and give up $1 if I passed inspection, and hopefully he would work late and he wouldn't make an inspection, and if it would be messed up, it would be because we've already been home all day, and then he'd maybe ask Mom to see if things were done. Yeah, they were done. Quarter whether we're done. And it was all or nothing. I could never get 50 cents. I could never get a quarter for doing half of my job. It was like all or nothing. And so I put it in the top drawer of my dresser, and I'd be counting it like King Midas every once in a while. It's going, I have $40. And it was a long time until I could save up enough money for $132 plus tax on that cat mini bike. And I remember one time, me and my friend Winky went and blew $20 at the carnival. So we had carnies come to the neighborhood regularly in the summer, and man, we went on that octopus ride a lot till we were dizzy and cotton candy. So I finally got the mini bike. Probably had to spend like 150 something odd dollars back when sales tax was 5%. Can you believe that in California? And I got the helmet. I had a white helmet with a little visor on it. It wasn't a full face mask or anything like that. And I rode my mini bike. Now, it was illegal to ride mini bikes on the street. So, first of all, you could know that I had this awesome sense of accomplishment, which is I saved my money, I did my work, I bought my mini bike, and now I run around the neighborhood. And I have only 2 pictures of myself on the mini bike, or 2 pictures of the mini bike itself. And one of them I took up at the Coliseum in the parking lot, because we take the VW van, put the mini bike in it, and then drive up to the LA Coliseum, because it's illegal to ride mini bikes on the street. I think even if you had a motorcycle license, they didn't want mini bikes on the street. So in addition to being able to save that, you'd have to avoid the cops. But I did ride it around the neighborhood some. But on the weekends, hey Dad, let's go. And the coolest place to ride the mini bike was on Rosecrans and Western. And right over there, Rosecrans and Western, there was a big empty lot. It might have been an abandoned oil field, but all the neighborhoods around there in South LA, they had dirt bikes and real dirt bikes, enduros, and people would ride up and down the whoop-de-doos. Of course, there was Motorcycle Hill, which is now Han Park, and people used to go straight up that hill, which is a good 120 feet. Nah, probably more than that, but that was insane. Couldn't do any of that stuff. And then, of course, I didn't have shocks on my mini bike, and so it was kind of a scary, dangerous place. And I'm 10 or 11 years old, and these other kids have motorcycles with gears and all that stuff. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my mini bike, and it was a great lesson. But there's 2 additional things that happened as well. Number 1 is I did get busted by the cops. I rode my mini bike around, and cops pulled me over, and he says, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "I got it at Pep Boys." You're not supposed to ride that on the street." "Well, it's too fast to ride it on the sidewalk, officer." Oh, a wise guy, huh? And so I was given a ticket, and I had to appear before a judge and be a little angel. And so now I have a sealed juvenile record, which says this little scumbag kid rode his mini bike on the street. Yike. And then sometime after that, it was stolen. So some kid in the neighborhood stole my mini bike right out of my house, right out of my backyard, painted it all red, and then I knew it was mine, because I know what it sounds like. I know my engine. It had the centrifugal clutch, and it goes ring like that. And so I got it back, but he trashed it. He trashed it. And I knew the kid, or he was a cousin of some kid that I knew. Anyway, so that was a profoundly affecting part of my childhood. I know what it's like to work every day. I know what it's like to save money. I know what it's like to achieve a goal. I know what it's like to overshoot a goal and get extra goodies for that. I know what it is, the pride of ownership of something, that you reach your goal. And I know what it is for the cops to punish you for achieving that. And I know what it's like for criminals to steal that thing away from you. And I know what it is to get that thing recovered back. So that was a complete set of life lessons around a 2.5 horsepower mini bike. So that's the answer to the question. Thank you for listening.